Hello, and welcome to Art with Miss Michelle. Today we're going to learn about an artist named Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was a very influential artist. He was born in 1928 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His parents were from Austria, and he was very sick as a child. He spent a lot of time in bed, and to keep himself entertained, he did a lot of drawing. He listened to shows on the radio, and he collected pictures of movie stars that he thought were very interesting. And he said this influenced him as an artist because he spent so much time drawing and hearing about different types of art and performance. As a teenager, he won awards for art and writing, and when he went to college, he wanted to become an art teacher. While he was in college, he changed his mind. He was introduced to commercial art and also did a lot of dancing. So he moved to New York to work as a magazine illustrator, and he worked in advertising. His first job in advertising was drawing shoes, and he was supposed to draw them for ads and make them look realistic, but they just had this style, and they thought the shoes, they looked like they kind of were coming to life, and they looked very whimsical, but they were always accurate, and they said the person that hired him really liked them, and they were okay with it. He started tracing photographs and accentuating shadows and different features of the photographs, and he just became he became obsessed with making everyday objects artistic. In the 1960s is when he really got the pop art movement going. Him and some other artists were known for creating this pop art, which is taking popular images in American culture and making them their own art. So Andy Warhol is probably most famous for making his screen prints of Campbell soup cans. He also liked to do Coca-Cola bottles. He did $100 bills, pictures of Marilyn Monroe, Elvis. He was also famous for taking newspaper headlines, and he used photos of dogs attacking protesters during the Martin Luther King movement and the Civil Rights movement, and his art became very controversial. He had an art studio in New York, and it was called The Factory, so it was kind of an art factory. He had a lot of parties there. He had a lot of other artists come through. It was just kind of a place for artists to gather and create. And a lot of these artists all knew each other. These were very colorful people, bohemian people. A lot of performance art happened there. He just got people together, and a lot of art was produced as a result of this. Now, it was also kind of controversial. And actually, in 1968, someone tried to murder him. He was shot by a woman named Valerie Solanas, and she was very upset. She kind of thought Andy Warhol lost a script that she wrote, and well, he did lose it. She thought he purposefully wouldn't give it back to her, but he said it was misplaced. He survived the shooting, but he had long-term injuries that lasted the rest of his life. So after this happened, he kind of calmed down a little bit. He was also kind of known to play different characters, but they were characters of himself. So a lot of people say they wouldn't really know the true Andy Warhol. He put on different personas for the public. So he was just kind of a interesting guy, kind of a weird guy, but definitely a very famous artist and a very successful artist. He also was known for the saying that everyone will have their 15 minutes of fame in the future, which I think now with social media is especially true. So after he kind of wanted to be out of the spotlight a little bit, he still made a lot of art. He did a lot of portraits of famous people, a lot of rock stars, Olympic athletes. He did some album covers for bands, and he was already very famous, so he kind of focused on selling his art. So we are going to make our own pop art inspired by Andy Warhol. So for this project, you can really use whatever you want. I have colored pencils and paper if you want to do painting or pastels or some other kind of art, you can. And then you can think of an image you want to use, which can be anything. So you can use something popular, a character, a famous person, a type of food, whatever you want, really. This is your art, so think of your idea that you want to do, and we will make a picture of it. Okay, so I am going to make a Andy Warhol inspired piece of pop art. So you can decide if you want to make whatever you're choosing to draw look realistic, like the soup can. You can make it really bright colors. If you want to repeat the image, you could fold your paper or divide it. If you want to do something like the Marilyn Monroe portraits where they repeat the image a bunch of times. So you can really do this however you want. Most of our lives right now is being influenced and controlled by COVID. So I'm feeling inspired to do a vaccine bottle since vaccines are becoming available. I think it's very appropriate right now and influential. So I'm going to draw a bottle, and I might repeat it with different colors. But I think right now that's going to be the most influential image in our culture right now, and pretty much all cultures around the world. Okay, so here is my 2021 Andy Warhol inspired pop art. You can choose whatever image you want to do. If you want to do it 1 time or 4, you can make it colorful if you want. Really just be creative with this project. So thanks for watching my video. I hope you like this project, and happy pop art making.